We've been practicing a song and an interpretive dance. So I'm going to sing. John is going to dance. And, oh, right. That's right. You said no dancing. Right. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, that would be good. Grab that microphone. So what I did promise John was that this would not be in any way embarrassing. Too late. But we were talking earlier that, like, hey, can we go through the get you unstuck exercises again? And I was like, sure, because it might help other people. And that way we can just do one together in front of everybody. And that way you'll kind of know how we would do that. And he graciously said that he would be all right with this. And I told him it would not get deep or in any way like really super personal. We were going to keep it really light and on the surface. We can do the deep personal stuff later. But just so you kind of get an idea of if someone came to me, and oftentimes if I do any coaching with someone one-on-one, it's because they're like, I just cannot make this work. And I'm like, all right, well, let's just sit down and practice a few times. So what I'm going to do with John, whether he really needs it or not, you could practice on your own or help another person if you so choose. Does that sound good? And then after that, we'll do something all together. All right, so while I do this with him, you do this too, even if you're like a pro at using the eyes of your heart. You're like, no, I got it, Christopher, really. I'm good. Hanging out with Jesus pretty much every day. Don't need any help. None of us are probably there. So why don't you do it too while we're doing it? Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Of really the group. Who here has actually seen the heavens, like, and can do that and repeat that?
I saw the little him hawing around there. I don't want to raise my hand, but maybe.
All right. I don't know if that was like a before and after thing, but I just...
Oh, no, that's a good point.
Because everything we've done so far hasn't really been that yet.
Right, we've been keeping it pretty grounded. I intend to change that a little bit tonight, if that's okay. So we'll see how that goes. But let's keep it grounded one more time. What I'm going to do is actually what I would do in any scenario, not even, it doesn't have to be a church. So I did this with a university once. I spoke to a group of university students. I did the same kind of thing because it's pretty disarming. And we sort of treat it, again, like an imagination exercise. I'll get more Christ-centered here because we're allowed. All right, you ready? Y'all ready? Okay, here's what I want you to do. Now, y'all aren't going to talk, but John's going to talk. I want you to imagine that you are going to paint me a picture, okay? Got the canvas in front of you, got all the colors, all the brushes, you're ready to go. And all I want you to paint for me is what to you is a restful, peaceful scene. Now, what would you paint on the canvas that would be peaceful and restful to you? And do it in the mic when you say. What would it be?
It would be a, like, 80-degree weather day. There would be a breeze, and you'd be like in a field and laying on something where bugs don't get you.
Oh, now we're talking. Okay, let's stop there. 80 degrees. Now, 77 would have been the more spiritual thing to say. Just sorry. It's been a long day, so no promises. All right, so 80 degrees. I'm in 80 degrees. You said field. Something on the field. Now, is it flat or is it hilly, the topography? It's your painting, so it can be whatever you want.
It's a little hilly.
Okay, it's a little hilly.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming daytime.
Yes.
Okay. And are we talking a lot of sun, clouds, a little bit of both?
Both.
Okay. What kind of clouds? Big puffy
White
or?
puffy.
White puffy. Okay, now someone else might have been like little wispy clouds, but for him, white and puffy. Okay, so that's the scene. Now, you said there's going to be something on, and you're painting on the ground so the bugs don't get you. What is that going to be? Because it's your painting, you get to decide.
Maybe just a thick blanket.
A thick blanket. What color would that blanket be in your painting?
Blue.
Blue. All right. Blue. Who saw plaid? Anybody else see a plaid blanket? I did too. Yeah, I was like, mine would be like red and black plaid. Okay. But blue is a good color. Now, blue blanket. Anything else on the blanket? Oh, just like that, right? Thank you. It's a very spiritual shirt for the evening. All right, now, anything else on the blanket except you? I'm assuming that's where you're going to paint you in the picture.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
How are you going to paint yourself in there? Your age, younger or older, it doesn't matter. There's no wrong way to do this.
Just my age.
Okay. And I'm assuming 80 degrees, you're dressed for the weather. You're probably not wearing a toboggan and like earmuffs or something, right? You got like...
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, you've got this scene painted. All I want you to do now is paint Jesus into the picture. It's your painting. Where do you want him to be?
I'm going to be laying like off to the center of the blanket, and then Jesus, I'm going to be laying down, but he's going to be like sitting up, kind of looking towards me, you know,
Yeah.
so we can talk.
But he's also on the blanket too. Am I
Yes.
getting that part right?
Right.
Okay. Now, how are you going to paint him? Is he going to be older than you, younger than you, or about the same age?
He's just going to look like Jesus.
I know, right?
He's going to be your white throne,
Come on,
nice
yeah.
long, the brown, you know,
Yes.
luscious hair.
Oh, yeah, the
Yeah,
luscious
yeah,
hair,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I got it. He's got the robe, he's got the
He
Jesus
uses
hair.
Monet. Yeah.
All right. Excellent, excellent. Okay, now again, you're painting him in there. And I believe you said you're laying down, he's sitting, sort of looking towards you, right?
Right.
Okay. When you paint him in there, paint his like expression for me. What's he going to be looking like in the picture?
Just, you know, I'm not trying to be funny, but
Yeah, don't
he's
be-
just going to be chill. I
Yeah.
mean, you know what I mean?
I do.
Just, we're going to be just sitting there talking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be kind of like with I probably have a pillow in my head.
Yeah.
My hands behind my head.
Yeah.
Propped up, looking at him, and he's
Right.
just gonna be
Super.
the guy.
Excellent. All right, now, what you're going to do, I know, it's perfect, right? So,
The luscious dude.
well, he's luscious and chill, right? I mean, we're getting it.
I do hope everyone understands the picture of Jesus I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I'm being real serious.
I
mean,
know, I'm with you.
it's the white,
Yeah.
the white robe, and he's,
Yeah.
you know, he looks
I
like
got
he's
you.
about 35, 40.
Right. Right. Kind of like chosen Jesus, right? Again, it's not a problem. All right, now, in this picture, I want you to, I mean, it's a really nice picture, but we're going to ruin it just a little bit by putting like a little text box in here from Jesus' mouth. So you're going to put in a little text bubble like in a comic book. And again, it's your painting. What do you want in that text bubble that's coming from his mouth? What are the words in there?
So you want to know why the access to the heavens is somewhat of a new thing.
Okay, that's a fun thing to put in a text. Now, John, you were supposed to keep it light, so so that's what you're going to put in. It's perfect. Okay, that's what's coming out of his mouth. Now, you do a bubble out of your own. What words go in there? It's your painting.
It would be so he would say that to me because I've asked him,
Mhm.
and then I would say, is it because you've been spending time building the mansions and getting this in time, or you know, I don't know what we call this time frame,
Yeah.
but this getting the heavens ready.
Yeah.
Getting the heavens ready. Yeah, I'm sitting there and I'm explaining the reasons why I think
Yeah.
now it's time to reveal this.
Excellent. Turn the page now on your painting like a comic book. What's the next scene in the text boxes?
It's him, I'm assuming more or less confirming what I think, but then throwing in other details
Yeah.
that might be very long or deep or high in number of why now.
Uh-huh. Go ahead. It's your text box. What would one of them be? It's again, you're writing the comic book, you're painting the picture. It's totally up to you. Now, don't wait for it to come outside. What I'm trying to get you to do is I want you to create it. Your painting. I could have said it, what do you want him to say?
Well, the thing I think he might say is that actually things have been ready to reveal sooner than man in general pursued them and found them.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I mean that would be understandable.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now, what I want you to, you're doing a fantastic job, John. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to flip to the end of the story. What are the last few frames that are painted into the story? What are they going to be? How does this little story end? It's your painting, so you tell me.
Well, I guess I see this as, okay, John came before Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
and then Jesus said, go into all ends of the earth and,
Yeah.
Spread the gospel. And this is like, by the end of the conversation, Jesus is like, this is kind of the next thing that all believers need to be made aware of this, so they can be more effective, not only in the future in heaven, but especially down here in their time left here.
What's the last, great conversation job, what's the last scenes look like? Still the same? Blanket still the same? Setting still the same?
It's just gotten a little darker.
See, I saw that too. Anybody else watch the sunset on that? You did? Yes. Okay, yeah, I saw the exact same thing. I was watching the sun go down. All right, good. So you've got that, you got those pictures. Now, go ahead and open your eyes. Give John a big round of applause for having the guts to do that. Okay, well done. Very well done. Okay, now, what was easier about that is two things. Two pro tips here. Number one, he had a cheerleader directly working with him to be the guy that was just like, just keep talking. Just keep talking. Just keep saying out loud what it is those impressions are. That person that's there that's just giving you the encouragement to do it. There's a pro tip to that. That sometimes when you're on your own, you're like, man, I am just flying around in pink blobs of color and I got nothing,
That's this afternoon.
That was this afternoon. Great. So when someone's with you, and it helps to have a friend that you can do this sort of thing with. Now, the other thing that helped there is that I engaged your will. So I wouldn't let you wait until something outside gave you the picture. I kind of forced you to let it come from within by taking away the sense that we were letting something else do it. I kept telling you, it's your painting. What do you want it to be? Now, that's something that I just learned from working with people, that when they were having a hard time, it was because sometimes it was the cork, right? If the Holy Spirit's in here and the cork was in their set. And we just had to get that out. And so semantically, just with words, in order to get the cork out, I would tell them, forget about this coming from the Lord, because everyone associates that with an outside source. So they end up kind of waiting for it to happen. Instead, I know that there's a part of you that already knows the scene, that doesn't need it to come from an outside source. I know that there's a part of you that knows exactly what the garden looks like, that it's in your DNA. And all you'd have to do is let yourself tell yourself what it already knows. So in that case, I'm just like, it's your painting. Let's not worry about it. Now, where were we on the imagination bridge? I don't know. Maybe we were flights of fancy. Maybe we were divine creative force having a time in heaven in the spirit. That blanket and that field could have been your home, your immortal home. We don't know. It could have been the yard. I don't know. But where we were, it didn't really matter in that moment. We were just somewhere on the bridge. We have to get on the bridge for it to work. And all I did was use different words so that you would give yourself the permission to get on the bridge. It was well done, John. It was really well done. Now, if you're stuck again, a couple ways to do this. I've got a bunch of stuff on YouTube, and it's just totally for free. Obviously, anyone can go find it. If you just want someone to cheerlead you, granted, it's all recordings, but pretend I'm there, and I'll be your cheerleader. And the funny thing is that I do it the same way I'm like a one-trick pony. You're a three-trick pony. That's what Paul said. He's got three. I'm just a one. I really only do one thing. I mean, I'm just encouraging people to go, and I just keep them talking, because that's all it is someone just to be in your corner, Just tell me what it is that you saw. Does anyone else want to try what John just tried before we move on? Yeah, there's a hand back there. That was fast. He was like, I'm in. Get me in here. You want to come up? All right. Now, for the record, you should be honest. You really don't struggle with this, right? I know you don't, but you're in and you want to go, so let's do it. Let's make it happen. All right. Anybody else? And tell me your name again.
Kyle.
What's that? Kyle. Kyle.
This is Mike. Kyle.
Right. Anybody else after Kyle that wants to take a crack? Okay, Kyle, it's just you and John. All right, good. Now, here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
We're going to do this roughly the same thing.
Okay.
I may change it up a little bit.
All right.
You're going to paint that picture of a peaceful place. What's that to you?
I got a head start because I was thinking about it while you're doing John.
Okay, you cheated. All right, I'm fine with that.
I cheated. Sorry.
Yeah.
So for me, it is somewhere in Colorado, some kind of mountain-esque thing. I'm sitting in a hammock next to a beautiful stream. It's a semi-cloudy day, about 54 degrees is the
it's
perfect
54.
temperature. It's 54 degrees.
Yeah.
So you can like wear a hoodie if you want to, a little blanket, sleeping bag, whatever you want to do, hanging out in a hammock.
Kyle, let me stop you for a minute.
yeah,
Are
go
there
for it.
any beach people in this room?
Yes.
It's like, where are the sane people? The rest of you are like, it's 54 degrees, it's the mountains, I'm in a field, I'm like, where's the beach or the waterfall or the... All right, so you're there?
I said a stream.
Kyle,
It's a
okay, stream. There's a stream, Kyle. We'll give you the stream. Okay, now.
Fine.
All right, again, if you can't have fun when you're doing this, you're doing it wrong, okay? All right, so you've got the mountains and the stream. Now, you're in a hammock. I'm assuming it's between two trees.
That would be accurate.
Okay, great. How far is this hammock in your painting from the stream?
Like just a stone's toss, 15 feet. I don't know, something like that.
How are you painting yourself in there in the hammock? Are you your age, younger, or older?
About my age right now.
Okay, anybody take me up on the offer to paint themselves differently? Does anyone paint themselves a different age than they are?
I had more hair.
Man, I do not want to hear one thing out of you about hair. I just don't even, as far as I'm concerned, you have no authority to talk about that. I rebuke you. Someone else saw themselves? I was younger. You painted younger? Yeah, it'd be a little unusual if the entire crowd painted themselves in the picture the exact age that they are. And sometimes younger folks will paint themselves a little older too. Anyway, but about the same age. You're good. Where was I going after that? Someone? He's got himself in the picture. We're going to paint Jesus in now? Okay. Where are we going to paint him in?
All right. So anyone heard of like tandem hammocking?
No.
So it's like a tree and a tree and a tree. So but your heads are together. So that's the thing. But
Yeah.
you're like hanging off of 3 trees.
I see.
So like you can like kind of see each other and
Yeah.
talk at the same time.
Gotcha.
But you're in different hammocks. You're just chilling.
All right. Super. What color are these hammocks?
Mine is orange, and his is green.
Okay. And now, are we like swinging in hammocks in this picture? Or is it pretty stable?
No,
Okay.
light breeze, but
All right.
not swinging.
All right. Just making sure I get it. I don't do this in the mountains. Again, the
Yeah.
beach is okay. Now, you've painted him in there. How have you painted him in? Is he modern? Is he chosen Jesus? What? It's your painting. What's he going to be?
I'm kind of struggling with the either having long hair or not having long hair.
Let's
but
just pick one.
I'm just going not long hair.
Well, okay, let's do it. The first impressions.
Yeah.
Why not? What do we have to
Yeah.
lose?
He's also rocking a hoodie for
Okay.
sure.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Now, so you've got him painted in there. Again, give me an age you're painting him in.
Probably about 30-ish.
30-ish. So older than you.
Yeah.
What about size? Is he taller than you, shorter, or, and I know he's laying in a hammock, but, paint him in there. Your size, taller or shorter? There's no wrong answer here, man. You just tell me that first impression.
Probably about 6 foot-ish.
Okay, right.
Something like that.
What are you, about 6'2"? So,
I'm about
not
6',
6'2", 6'T-O-O. You're 6'2"?
Just 6 foot flat.
Gotcha.
Actually, a little less.
Right. Now, you've got both of you in the painting.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the text box. Let's do his first. Paint that in. What words do you want to put in here in your painting? What's he going to say to you?
He says, "What do you think?"
Now do yours. What do you say back?
Just what a killer day.
What a killer day. Now, here's what I want you to do, Kyle. You ready? We're going to go from painting a picture to a movie. So instead of being the painter, you're going to be the director. Okay? Where does this movie go from here? If we just go scene, take one, what happens next? And remember, you're like behind the camera directing. Where do you tell the actors to go?
Interesting. So all of a sudden it snaps. There's a tent set up. We've got a fire crackling, and there's a big log that we're sitting on.
Anybody else see
We're
that
making
fire
dinner.
before he said it? No? I was already there. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, so we're sitting there just making dinner, hanging out. We got steaks cooking over the fire. Oh, yeah, there's definitely some s'mores there
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And
Good?
Yeah.
Doing good? Keep an eye on the conversation. What, again, it's directing. There's a script involved, everything that's involved in a movie. What happens here? Give me the next couple minutes. And
He's
you're doing
kinda-
good. Trust it. Yeah.
yeah, he looks over and he says, "What's really important to you?" And I respond with the relationships that I have and how I'm building them.
Mm-hmm. Keep going. You're watching the script of this movie play out. What happens next?
He says, like, that's right. And it's also dependent on how you see me and how you trust me.
Yeah. Keep going. It's a good movie. What happens in the movie from here?
I ask him, do you have any tips for how to do it better? Or, better is not the right word. Maybe to do it with more life, and that we
Yeah.
can do it in a more efficient way so that we don't waste time here and we can touch more people.
Yeah. Keep going. What happens in the movie?
He says, come and spend more time here, and you get a more pure way of doing it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, now same thing that we did with John. You give me the end of the movie before you yell cut. What's the last scene?
We're both got packs on, and we're just backpacking down to the parking lot.
Okay, super. Kyle, thanks. Big round of applause for Kyle. It's a ton of bravery. Well done. You can just leave it there. Well done. Okay, so same thing. It helps having a cheerleader, someone there just to be like, you can do it, have confidence in those impressions, having someone around to filter too, because if Kyle had said something crazy, if he'd been like, Jesus just punched me in the face, I'd be like, it's not him. So let's paint something different, Kyle. Like, let's figure out why you saw him punching you in the face, you know? Let's paint Jesus in there. Let's go with chosen Jesus, you know? He would never punch you in the face. And then I would just help Kyle be like, why don't you ask him in this movie, Lord, why did I just see you punch me in the face? You know, and so we'd work through that. So having a friend there is really helpful. Someone that can just be your cheerleader. Okay, any other takers? Okay, come on. Tell me your name. Linda. Come on over, Linda. Grab this microphone and put on your crash helmet and safety goggles. All right, Linda. We're going to do something a little bit different.
No, I was all ready for that.
See, you're already an artist. She did all that.
Another cheater. Yeah. No, really, I'm struggling. I have a hard time. Right. Yeah, we know. Okay, let's do something a little bit different. I'm gonna skip the preliminaries since you're already there. Where was your peaceful place?
Is it on?
Oh, let's turn that on. Let me set my, yeah.
I'm on a hillside looking down to a lake. And I go down the stone steps down to the lake, and there's a tree and there's a bench, and I'm sitting on the bench with Jesus.
Okay, how's he look?
He's happy.
He's happy. Dress, chosen Jesus, modern Jesus, where are we at?
Probably chosen Jesus.
Chosen Jesus, okay. What kind of day? Is it daytime, nighttime?
It's afternoon,
Afternoon.
clear.
Clear. Does anybody else do they want to know something about this picture? Do you have a detail you want her to tell you? Might as well. What's it like?
77.
Well, that was spiritual. So spiritual. Wow. Woo. I can feel the Lord in the room.
I felt it, you know.
Yeah, yeah, so
Yeah.
it's perfect. Amber, what do you want to know? Oh, jumping ahead to my
Carrying
next
around
exercise,
me?
Amber. Yeah.
I have a shawl on,
Uh-huh.
and it's purple.
Okay. I wanted to know the color of the water in the lake.
Deep turquoise blue.
Deep turquoise blue. Interesting. Now,
And there's a waterfall over there on the other side.
oh, finally. Okay. It's like, could it kill you to say beach, people? Okay, so.
Well, there's a beach on the other side.
All right, now we're getting there. Now, he's on the bench next to you, right?
Yes.
Okay. What is he saying or doing?
He said, I told you it would be all right.
Okay. What are you saying or doing?
And I just say, I know you did.
How do you look in this picture?
Um,
Give me your age, kind of colors that you see on yourself, any of those things.
I'm younger.
How much younger?
Probably 30.
30? So just a few years.
That's right. I have long hair.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Same color as what you've had in your mortal life or different?
Same color.
Mm-hmm.
Not gray.
Okay. I was in. Could have said pink. I would have been like, great.
Oh,
Yeah.
I could do pink.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do pink. Yeah.
Okay. So you see your keep going. What's he saying or doing?
He has his arm across the back of the bench like that,
Mm-hmm.
and toward me. And he said, "I never left you."
Okay. What are you saying or doing?
And I tell him, I know you didn't because you promised.
Yeah.
Not that I felt you, but I know you didn't.
Yeah. Now, you're doing fantastic. I want you just to look. I prompt a question from time to time just so that you get some ideas when you're on your own. Just look at him and go, Lord, what do you want to do today? And you can mumble it to him however you like. You see yourself say it. What's he say and do after you do that?
So now what do you want to do? And he just says, let's go for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes me by the hand.
Yep.
And we start walking around, and we go under the tree.
What kind of tree are we talking? Oak, pine, willow, palm? Where are we at here? Take a guess.
A really big pine tree.
Really big pine. Keep going.
And there's some, right past it, there's some rocks on that are coming down the hillside into the water. I guess there might be a little stream or something.
Yeah.
And we just like step on the rocks across it
Mm-hmm.
and go on the other side of the lake.
Yeah. Now, Linda, same thing that we did with Kyle and John. Just for the sake of time, I want you to imagine for me, where's the story end in this journey? Where's the end point where you would be like, thank you, Lord, and back you go. So give me that picture.
And he just says, I've had a wonderful day with you. I've loved being with you.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes me and he just hugs me.
Yeah.
And we just stand there. And my head and my face is on his chest and his shoulders, and all of a sudden I can hear his heartbeat.
Yep. Excellent. Thank you, Linda. Big, giant round of applause for Linda. That was great. Thank you. Very, very good. Okay, a few different things that I did there. Again, things that you should do on your own. Simplify what you're focusing on. Lord, what are you saying and doing? What am I saying and doing in return? Go back. Lord, what are you saying or doing? What am I saying or doing in return? And you just kind of keep going back and forth and watching how it goes so that you don't go into leave him a voicemail mode where all of a sudden you start talking for like 15 minutes, which you would never do with your friend. You wouldn't just talk and go on and on and on. You would like say some things and then you'd stop and let them talk, So just keep going back and forth like that. Now, the other thing that we did in there too is just prompt a little bit of motion. Now, if you ever feel like Christopher, I just sit with the Lord in my room, and you could do this. You could be in your bedroom or your living room or your car. Just don't close your eyes. And you just go, Lord, where are you in this picture? And you see the Lord there, and you start the conversation. But if you're like, Christopher, it never goes anywhere. Okay, well, there's two things going on there. One, don't be greedy. You're sitting with Jesus. I mean, like, just enjoy it. Like, you could do that for a lifetime, and it would be okay, you know? There's a benefit to just being there. Now, if you're thinking, though, but, you know, maybe something should be going on here, prompt a question. Be yourself. Don't tell me that. Tell him that. And just go, Lord, we kind of just sit here on the bench or in our bedroom or in the sanctuary every time. Do you want to do anything? And then let him tell you. And if he doesn't want to, he'll be like, nope, just good sitting here talking. Or he might say, let's take a walk or let's go do something different. So you can prompt a little bit of just normal human questions into that experience. Last thing there is that when I like press you for details, like about the color of the water, or about the kind of tree that it is, those details are there, or the color of the blanket back there with John. The details are there. I'm just causing you to draw them out. A good cheerleader will do that for you. They'll just keep the details coming. Now, you can do that for yourself, too. Just acknowledge all the details that you can put into that scene. Just as simple as that. And as an aside, too, you probably spent some time in nature, I'm guessing. Your imagination, the eyes of your heart, work with the raw materials that it's been given. So the way that your internal senses work are they take what you've already have in, and then it typically elevates it, oftentimes. Or sometimes it can just bring it to where, like you saw a lake someday and you're seeing that lake again. But oftentimes it'll take it and elevate it a little bit. It'll just morph it into something, for lack of a better word, higher. But it's working with what you have. So consequently, if you spend good chunks of your life, and I'm going to get on my soapbox one more time, looking down at a screen, you're denying yourself that raw, imaginative input that comes when you go for a walk outside, or you go hike in the mountains, or, God forbid, for half of you, go to a beach. You know, like it's just, you know, I know really, you know. You know, those are these like raw materials that the eyes of your heart works with. Now, there's a reason for that. That's the creation God made. It is the original imaginative creative substance. So the more time you spend in those environments, the more you're feeding the eyes of your heart with the kind of colors on the palette that you can then paint with when you're doing something elevated in that higher place. Everybody good so far? Okay. Of course, I think there was 3 there. Before you do, what's our time frame tonight? What do we normally do?
About 8:30.
Okay, super. We got plenty of time. Okay. We'll just, who hit him first? Yep. Yeah. Yeah, right on. It's the first thing. That's totally fair, right? Yeah. Now, again, what's probably going to happen is your first look is not going to, it's, in other words, you'll see more the more you go. Oftentimes, especially when we're looking for the first time, the eyes of our heart are giving us the best approximation, right? Doesn't mean that you're going to go over the course of the next year over and over again, and by the time a year's up, you're like, wow, it's very different than when I first saw it, because the more I go, the more I'm getting to know it. Or it could stay exactly the same. The point is, you just keep going and your vision of it expands. Just think about like newborns when they're first alive. Do you know their vision is terrible? When they first use their eyes, because they haven't been really using them, they can only see like this far away. They rely on smell and things like that much more than eyesight. And of course, as they get older, their eyes get better. So how you see the world when you first open the eyes of your heart is going to be different than how you see things, let's say 10 years from now, using the eyes of your heart. That was one question. There was more, and then we'll get to you, Amber, too. Who was over here? Yes, sir.
I noticed you didn't say anything about the smell, and obviously the pine tree would have smell.
It did, yeah.
Is that TMI?
Nope, we're actually going to do senses in just a minute. So hang on to that thought.
I know in the Old Testament, the temple, they burned incense
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. No, we're going to exercise all those spiritual senses in just a moment, if you'll let me. If you'll let me do it. Did you have one too?
Yes, yes. How do you initiate or continue conversations with whoever you're connecting with in heaven?
Okay, so now when you were watching them, how did you perceive they were continuing their conversations?
Well, if you were guiding the conversation, so I'm just
When I would just tell them what they, like with Linda, I said, okay, what is he saying or doing? What are you saying or doing? And she goes, well, he's saying this. And so that technique of just, Lord, what are you saying or doing? What am I saying or doing in return? What are you saying or doing? What am I saying or doing in return? So you just keep yourself going back and forth like that.
and you
Yeah.
do that with other people besides Jesus as well.
You're asking me personally? Yeah, like all the time. But again, like let's warm up. You know, like we don't have to race there, right? I think sort of at this stage in the game, sitting with Jesus for the better part of a year or more is a really good start. So there's no harm in going slow, walking circumspectly, having a really good foundation. Now, if other things happen, go for it. If Linda had been like, well, there's an angel on the bench too, I would have been like, great, let's ask him his name. You know, but we don't have to do that. You know, we can just let it evolve naturally. You know, I think we got it. We got it?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, over here, and then Amber. Yeah.
Sure, I'm gonna ask the question, but I've always wanted to talk to Paul.
Yeah.
The reason is there any problem talk to Paul before Jesus?
You know, I don't know that it's a problem per se. This is where I'd step in and say, the best advice I can give anyone is use the chaperone that's available to us. So if what we're looking for here is really good, sustainable fruit in our lives, I would encourage having Jesus there at all times, especially early on in the process. So to my knowledge, I've never taught this in 12 years and encouraged people to not do that. So no, it's not a problem. But what I would do in your situation is I would hang out with Jesus, and then I would be like, Lord, I've always wanted to talk to Paul. And then just see what he says. And then if he's like, well, yeah, let's go talk to him. Well, then great, go do it. But then have him there as the chaperone, at least for the time being. Now, am I saying that because I'm like worried about your soul and I think you're going to mess this up? No, I'm not. For the most part, people are, I would again say, for the most part, people are pretty good at discerning and judging the fruit. But I have watched people forget the chaperone, and then they get sort of sidetracked, and then the fruit's not good. Or if not even if it's not good, it's just delayed. Like they just don't get where they really wanted to get. So keep the chaperone there. That's Jesus. You know, just and do that. You know, it's not limiting in any way. In fact, I think it actually empowers just about everything you do, even in a conversation with someone like Paul. So just keep doing it that way, and ask him and see what he tells you. And if you go, can we talk to Paul? And he's like, nope. Then I would be like, oh, well, can you tell me why? And you're not mad. You're just like, I bet you've got a reason. And he might be like, yeah, because you don't really want to talk to Paul. You wanted to talk to Peter. And you'd be like, oh, really? You know? And or he'd be like, he might say, no, I'm jealous. I'm jealous for your time. Like we haven't even discussed each other's favorite color yet. You know? Like that could take a day. And it has. I'm saying that from personal experience. So, you know, give him the preeminence in all things. That's a Colossians verse again. We good? Yep. Amber. You're not broken, Amber.
I close my eyes, I don't see anything.
Yeah.
But I have to have my eyes open to be able to see.
You're not broken. Again, you know, when I'm given, you know, directions, I'm trying to get the biggest percentage of people in the room at one time. There are outliers to everything. And I think we were talking about, Larry and I were, that there are people that, it is Larry. Okay. We were talking about this too. Just a few weeks ago, I was in Tampa, and this gentleman came up to me and he goes, okay, I just want you to know, I have a condition called aphantasia, which is, it's real. He didn't make this up. It's the lack of an imagination. And I was like, not a thing. And so, and he was like, no, really. You say, what do I see? And it's total blackness. And I'm like, still not a thing. And he's like, and there's a condition, hyperphantasia. He's like, I think you have hyperphantasia, and I have aphantasia. So what did I do? We were sitting in like the little coffee shop that's part of the church, and I just took him aside. I did the same thing with the painting, y'all. The same thing. His eyes were open the whole time. And I told him before we started, I said, listen, you are never going to say that you see anything. So let's just get that straight. You are one of the small percentages of people that are never going to say, I see. My wife is also one of these people. But you're going to perceive, and that's different. You will never get the sense that there are images there. But you're going to tell me as much detail as I would say. And I would say, see. You're going to say, I sense or I perceive. My wife is the exact same. But I'll be the whole time like, well, honey, I see the angel. Don't you see the angel? And she's like, no, but I perceive this. And this is what I perceive Jesus is saying and doing. And when we're done, we have had the same quality of experience in the Spirit. One of us said, I see. The other one said something different. So I told this guy that. I know this is not where you're at, but I'm making a point. So I told this guy that. I said, so let's forget the terminology that you're going to see. Just paint me a picture. What do you want it to look like? Well, he did what everyone did. He paints a picture. Okay, where's Jesus? We just did the whole thing. And by the time we're done, I said, now you're directing the movie, take one. He was off to the races. I said, okay, stop. You just did it. That's all that it is. There's nothing more to it than that. And he was like, oh, okay then. And that was it. Like he walked away a happy man. Just taking away some of the semantics, some of the ways of saying things. But again, I'm trying to get the biggest common denominators at once, and there's always going to be outliers. There are people like you, Amber, that eyes closed doesn't work, probably because you're a bit more of a perceiver than a seer. It's going to ruin it when you close the lids. So when you keep them open, it's actually forcing you to use the internal senses. When you close these lids, all you're seeing is out your biological eyes, and all you get is the black. So just do it with your eyes open. For the record, this is not more spiritual, okay? But I have noticed that the more people do this, the easier it gets. If you could only do it with your eyes closed to focus, you give it a few years, and you're walking around every day with these two realms overlaid on each other, which is more or less what happens if you exercise the muscle with some diligence and some discipline. So I'll never forget the day. Like, I'm pretty blind without my glasses. I mean, I can't drive without them. Lights are snowflakes, And so I remember being on vacation with my family years ago. I was probably doing this for, 5 years, maybe less. And we were at a water park. And, not going to go with your glasses on. So I'm walking, down to where the water park is without my glasses. And then I opened the eyes of my heart, and it was the first moment I realized I could see better with my internal eyes than I could with my biological ones. And that was my kick to just let that realm overlap this one so that I was watching both at the same time. You think it's exhausting. It's actually not. It just gets easier with time. And then it just goes from there. So keep your eyes open. Does that help? It works with your eyes open, so just do what works. Yeah. You're not broken. That's really the moral of the story there. You're doing great. Yeah. Okay, can I go on, John? How about John, and then we can go on with some stuff. Yeah. Yesterday? Brenda didn't? Yeah. Yeah. So when I met him, you want to hear the story? Yes. Okay. John. I was walking across a bridge into the new city, into that Jerusalem that's above, and with its 12 gates. And I was walking across with Jesus. And standing at one of the gates was this angel with his big, broad, white wings. They don't all have wings, and frankly, I've very rarely seen Brendan with wings since, but that day he had them. And this kind of white and purple and was amethyst-colored garment, and this silvery, like woven-like crown with this amethyst jewel in the middle. And we walked up to him, and it was clear that, like Jesus, he planned stuff. He's so sneaky. And so this angel is bigger than me by a margin, takes his crown off of his head, kneels down, and puts his crown on mine. And when he did, I sprouted these white wings. This is not some kind of I turned into an angel moment, don't worry. I sprouted these white wings behind me, and Jesus just goes like that, and those wings caught his breath and sailed me over the gate into the city. It was a phenomenal experience. Gives me little chills to this day. So I got comfortable wearing Brendan's crown. I asked him his name. We got through that. And it sounded like Brendan, but with more consonants than should be in that name. It was like Brendan, but like Brendan, And so it was, Brendan. Now, nerd, I did look it up. I mean, I'm like, come on, it's got to be something, And it is an old Gaelic way to spell the name Brendan. Really, the Gaels would probably pronounce it Brenaden. But it's more or less how it was spelled. And it just means prince in Gaelic. So kind of like Michael was the prince that protects his people. I think I mentioned that the other day. You got a question coming, John? Yeah. Oh, it's a great question. Other people have seen him, but it feels very personal. Yeah, it feels very, very personal. It doesn't mean that there isn't some function with whatever, but the way that I think of him is the prince just for me. So he was my first experience before I knew it was even legal. So, I mean, yes, I was freaked out. But it took some time to figure out, that, again, the crescendo of what the story that God's been telling between man and the angelic world, and to see Patrick meeting with Victoricus like a man meets with his friend, and finding out that I'm not doing this in a vacuum. I'm actually just riding the crest of a wave that God has been building for a very long time, So were we going anywhere with that? Or, okay. All right, can we go on to do some other stuff? Okay. How are y'all doing? Is everybody good back there? Okay. Okay.
Sleep versus awake. Have you tried this in both, like, conscious and unconscious states?
In other words, have I been lucid when I'm asleep and I've been doing this? Maybe once. Maybe once. Yeah, probably. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, John, again, for the $50 follow-up question. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe at first, but we homeschool our kids, and I work at home, so the idea of not being interrupted is, to me, like a fairy tale. The moment I'm gonna, get my cup of tea and maybe put on some ethereal music, that'll be the moment my son comes down to the keyboard, and it's like, let's play those old time rock and roll. I mean, it's just gonna, just like, for heaven's sakes, So, I think you just get good at adapting to your environment. Now, it's helpful when everyone leaves the house, but that's true for anybody. My wife goes into our closet and shuts the door. It's like the sensory deprivation chamber, it's dark. It's just, that's her space, I haven't tried that, but it just seems uncomfortable in there. But, but it's just whatever works for you. And I think the more you exercise the muscle, the idea is you want to be able to stand in line at the DMV, which is a little foretaste of hell, if no one ever wants to go there. Stand in line at the DMV. And you want to be able to open the eyes of your heart while you're standing in line at the DMV and carry on a participation with heaven in the most mortal environment imaginable, which is in line at the DMV. Funny story. When I was in college, again, president of the Baptist Student Union, one of our students there, we went to go get her license plate for her car. She just moved to Charleston. And the license plate came back, the normal 3 letters, and then the number 666. And so we were all like, well, are you going to go back and get it changed? I kid you not. She said, nope, I'd rather carry the mark of the beast than wait in line at the DMV. And she was serious. Anyway, yeah. Right, so
Christopher, could you repeat the question too? Because people are asking what the questions are online.
we wanted them to guess that. We just wanted them to be like, I think this was the question. No, the question there is, we're getting back to this issue of escapism, right? As being in heaven as escapism. Now, were you here Saturday by chance? Okay, I put some quotes up there by Tolkien, which I'll show you. Okay, about this issue of the difference between the escape of the prisoner and the flight of the deserter, and how often we confuse that. Escape of the prisoner is essentially the person going up into the heavens where you're seated, what you were told to do, which is fix your eyes on the unseen. So you're doing that. You're actually participating with the eternal things. Now, what I've found is, if it's escapism, it's the most appropriate kind of escapism there is. It's the escapism of, in order to apprehend the goodness of God, I am going to be where Jesus ascended to right now because I have the right. Why wouldn't I? I'm a citizen of heaven. I'm a sensory being. That's what humans are. We've got senses. I'm going to go see and touch and taste and feel. I'm not going to acknowledge this distance. So if it's the escape of the prisoner, it's the most appropriate kind of escapism it is. If people do it in a way that, again, I would argue they're mindful of the chaperone Jesus. They're keeping the first things first. They're testing the fruit when they need to test the fruit. What I've found is they become so effective here that it changes not just the way they see the world, it changes what they think they are capable of. Because they're in the face of Jesus's onslaught of encouragement and affirmation every day. And that changes a person. You take 10 minutes every day and go, Lord, where are you in this room? And then just walk through. Tell me one thing that you like about me. And let him dote pent-up affection on you that he's been holding for a really long time. It will completely revolutionize your life to do just that one thing for 10 minutes every day. So if it is, and I have seen some folks just like, I just got to get out of here. If they're going for the right reasons, if they're keeping the chaperone there, if they're asking Jesus those questions, I have personally not seen it come back to where they don't start bearing fruit in keeping with the fruit of the Holy Spirit. If that helps answer the question. So maybe there's a reason to go up and to not be here. Stephen's a great example of that. Yeah. God's in a what? Oh. Ooh. Well, that's a different story. Do you mean literally dodging a bullet? Right. Right. Well, I mean, we've all done it. I've been in plenty of meetings where I ask God, could you send a meteor right now? I mean, because not a big one, not kill the dinosaurs, but enough to end this meeting, No, we've all been there. But yeah, but it's funny that I just thought of that, and I'm like, in those times I just kind of quit, and I'm like, well, I'm going up because this is driving me crazy, And then you go up and you get some peace and you get some perspective on things. So I do think so. I think a few weeks ago, everybody has a week from hell from time to time. It's just everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And as much as I wanted to get kinetic and solve all the problems that were coming up, and some of them really were painful, I knew what to do was stop what I'm doing and go into the up here where he ascended to and spend time with him and talk. And that proved to be the absolute best thing I could have done. Changed my perspective, reminded me that he's here, that he's drawing close, that these problems are solvable, that he's involved. So I do think that there's dodging bullet scenarios where it's appropriate. Yeah.
So I would affirm the scripture. It says, "Be still
Yeah.
and know that I am God."
Right. Yeah.
And then it says, "And the nations will know."
Yeah.
Why? Because of the fruit.
Right.
So it's just really it's wisdom to disengage
Yeah.
for the purpose of regrouping, so to speak.
Right.
But we're put in the context of being with the Lord.
Exactly. And again, we're just going back to Ephesians 6, pray in the Spirit on all occasions. And that probably includes when the frying pan is coming at you at high velocity. Yeah. Okay, we good? Can I make a turn? Nope, not yet. Yeah.
Does he ever take you somewhere just to have fun?
Does he ever take me somewhere just to have fun? Oh, yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Because this morning I felt like he took me on a roller coaster ride, and I could actually feel it in my gut.
Yeah.
And I don't see.
You're a perceiver.
I'm glad you
Right.
said that because
Good.
like,
Yeah.
everything I see doesn't feel right.
Right. No, perfect. Yes, I would say, I think the majority of my time up there, we are not doing the things that in Sunday school you're told you're supposed to do. Like we're having a great time. Celebrations, feasts, all out parties, creating things, designing things, learning things. Why are there so many Hebrew feasts? Well, by the time the Lord puts the Hebrew feasts together with the Gentile feasts together and one whole thing, it's going to be a year of parties because that's clearly what he's interested in. So, yeah, so many times it's just he's good and he's going to share the goodness with you. And it's revolutionizing. It really is. It changes your perspective. And also, I think it made me realize I didn't have to work as hard as I thought I did. The things that we're able to do and the amount of time that we're able to do them, it's like, it used to take you 3 hours to intercede for one thing. And then you take yourself into the up here and you're actually part of the solution to the problem instead of just telling God about the problem for 3 hours. Yeah, so you get stuff done quickly. Yeah. 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 Yeah, it's like it's weird how much he's transformed us, isn't it? It's just we haven't really been comfortable with the notion that he's so regenerative and he likes to restore us. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, you and me. I don't feel worthy either. It's feeling worthy is a total mirage. Yeah. 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 So what we need to do is when you're at home and that's happening, just see him in the room with you. And just where are you in this room? If it makes you feel better, you can give him permission to yell at you. Okay? He won't, but you can give him permission. And just tell him, Lord, I'm going to do what Chris told me to do. If I'm wrong, you'll yell at me. And just I see you right there in the room. And then you have to just get honest and you have to be yourself. And you have to look at him and say, every time I try to do this, this is what happens. What are you going to do about it? And just let him talk. And see what he invites you to believe. Are we good for that? Okay, give that a shot. And if you get stuck, email me and I'll get on a Zoom with you and help. Okay? Yeah.
So I have a question, and I think this has been a question I've heard over the weekend a few times, and you've already answered it for me, but I think it would be good to answer it. And I also know we want to be able to go for further exercises. So,
yeah. So this is the last question, is what he's saying. Well,
There's an online question too.
That was Pastor 4. This is the last one. I love you, but
we'll have but once we do the exercise, I think we'll have more,
Sure.
actually. So,
yeah.
all right, and you don't have to answer it now. Maybe you might be later.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I was asking for feedback today. Hey, what did you? And they said, I am really refreshed, and I love this, but the Ukraine is blowing up.
Yeah.
So is it okay for us to be thinking about things that seem so not important when the world literally is completely crumbling? So,
Okay, give me a little bit of rope here. Not to hang myself, but to just give me a little bit of room to work, okay? Why do you know the Ukraine is blowing up?
because of the news.
Why don't you know that Saudi Arabia carried out about 27 sorties on Yemen, bombing civilian populations in the last week? Why don't you know that?
Because the news didn't tell us, right?
Okay. If your standard is that what people are yelling to be concerned about is what heaven is going to be yelling to be concerned about, I think we're all in for a shock. I am not saying that Ukraine doesn't deserve our attention in the spirit. I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying if our standard is, if there's something blowing up on mortal earth, that is all we're allowed to think about when we're with Jesus, I think we're going to find that he has things in hand and he's still interested in us getting to know him. So I'm giving you some freedom here, okay? I'm not saying don't do it. Don't bring it. It's a worthy thing to bring up. But just don't think that heaven follows the news. Okay? There's a perspective here when you look horizontally. When you come up 60, 70,000 feet, you're going to see a different perspective. And it's not always what it is here. Now, this is not a conspiracy theory moment. I'm not going to be like, you're going to find out that like Ukraine is the one in the wrong. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about you're going to come up here and heaven's going to be like, yeah, I know that that's going on in Ukraine. Here's what you don't know. This is going on over here. This is going on over here. I'm as concerned with this one person caught in trafficking as I am with those bombs in Ukraine. I'm concerned with what's going on in your backyard. I'm concerned with what's going on in your family. I'm seeing every explosion, big and small, as they go off around the world. And oftentimes it's not like one's breaking the Father's heart more than the other. So you go up and you follow the chaperone. And it's totally okay to ask, like we were talking about talking to Paul. You can go ask about Ukraine. You can just be like, Lord, should we do something about Ukraine? He'll probably be like, yeah, let's do it. You know, go do it. See what happens. I think it's a great thing to do in the spirit. We may give it a shot tonight. We'll see. And otherwise, just keep doing what you're doing. You know, you can always give a prayer to Ukraine when you're in the car, waiting in traffic. You can always leave the voicemail for God. Just be like, all right, God, so we know Ukraine's blowing up right now. I just want to pray for Ukraine, Lord. Let's just, peace. I'm just releasing peace to Ukraine. I mean, you can do that whenever you want to. If it comes up when you're spending time with the Lord, go for it. If not, ask him. And if it doesn't come up because you're riding a roller coaster, don't feel bad that you're riding a roller coaster. You didn't know that people are dying in Yemen because of planes dropping bombs on them. You didn't know that. And you didn't know it. It would have never made you feel bad for having an experience of God's goodness. So, is that okay? All right. We navigated that all right. Okay. Yeah.
Last question. It's from Sonny Huhulin.
Yeah.
He's from Joyland Church in Colorado.
Oh,
it's
hey,
actually
Sonny.
Escher's uncle.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Joyland Church, great group. Are they in that camera right there?
Yes.
Whoever, Sonny, hello.
Yeah. And you were there a few years ago.
Yeah.
And he has a question. So it has gone to heaven and spend time out there. Has that upped your ability to go into interpreting dreams for others?
No. I mean, listen, you got to stay in your lane here. Like I'm not a good dream interpreter. I'm just not. It's not my thing. So don't ask me. Yeah, I'll mess it up. Not even good at interpreting my own. So, I mean, again, we can't all be good at everything, and that's for someone else. So, yeah. Wait, I think there's one here and then there. And then I really am going to cut it off until the end. Yeah. No, you're good. Go for it. Yeah. 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 A lot of people shedding tears. Yeah, keep going. Yeah. 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 Yes, right. Yeah. 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 Okay, now, there's nothing wrong with the way that you did that. Now, I prompted them to give me a restful place. I was telling them, it's up to you. You paint the picture for the restful, peaceful place, you know? So that's why they went that route. But you opening the eyes of your heart and seeing that scene and going, Lord, where are you in this picture? And then just be yourself and ask the questions. Why are there a bunch of people crying? Lord, what do you want to do about that? And who knows what kind of experience you have with him solving the problem that he showed you existed. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, perfect. There's nothing wrong with the way that you did that. Yeah, keep up the good work there. Yeah, did it great. To the point, who was I talking to this about? Maybe someone this weekend. You're going to see dark things eventually. Maybe not at the beginning, maybe at the beginning. You're going to see some dark stuff. Don't freak out. Where are the hosts of wickedness, according to Paul? Yeah, they're not down there in some, seventh level of Dante's Inferno or something. They're in the heavenly places. You are going to encounter things. It's kind of your job. You're going to wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against those hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. Now, I like to think we've changed the way that we do it a little bit. I'm not shouting them down and being the man of faith and power for the hour. I command you, devil. It's not, it's less like that, although there have been some of those moments, but it's less like that. And if you see it, don't freak out. You should have the chaperone with you already, but if you didn't, Lord, where are you in this picture? One trick pony. Where are you in this picture? And then get close. If you're not close, don't let him be a mile away. And then look at him and go, do you see that dark thing? And if he goes, yes, I do, then go, what do you want to do about it? And let him lead. More than likely, you are seeing the dark thing, much like, it's not dark, but seeing a picture of the tears, because he's bringing it up, and he's ready to deal with something, and he's going to do it partnering with you. Now, I'll tell you the first time that happened to me, I was, again, just learning how to use the eyes of my heart. I'm seeing myself with him in the entranceway to this vast, dark cavern. And there's a beautiful gold door on the other side. And standing between me and that door is a 40-foot tall, fallen angel. I didn't have to guess. He was fallen. He looked dark and crusty, and it just wasn't good. And he's giant. And I'm like, he's between us and the door. So for a while, I didn't know, again, everything that I'm learning, it's because I learned it, right? I went through it. So for a while, was just like, I'm not going to walk by him. This is crazy. Look how big he is. I'm not going to be speaking tongues while I walk by. It's like he's going to smash me, So eventually, I'm just looking at Jesus, like I'm telling you to do. Where are you in this picture? And I said, Lord, what do you want to do? And he just said one word to me. He said, principality. As in, I'm just identifying it. And then he starts walking for the gold door. And I was like, well, I'm not staying here, Scoot right up and walk by him. Now, he did put me between himself and that. In other words, it was me here, him here, giant thing here. But he's doing it to show me something. We got close to that thing, and I was waiting for the blow. And this thing was frozen like a statue. Just frozen in time. Couldn't move a muscle, couldn't utter a word in the presence of the King. And we went through that door and found our way into the heavens. So you're going to see some stuff. Don't freak out. Just figure out what he wants to do about it. If you start to feel like it's not going well, stop what you're doing. Go have a cup of tea, get a friend, take them with you next time. Make them do it too. All right, I'm shifting gears. You ready? Do you need a break? You do. I heard a yes. You want to take 3 minutes, because I'd like to get a water too. Okay? 3 minutes, we'll reconvene, do some other stuff.
Okay, it could be. It could be too. Again, I might find like, I'm a conspiracy guy too, so
Yeah.
it might be that it's.
I've just been like fascinated with like in his message today where he's like looking up.
My
Like
uncle
I am
has a.
fascinated with looking up.
Yeah, I am too now,
It just
for sure.
focus here.
But my uncle saw one of those over Lake Springfield, just south
Yeah.
of here, and it was like 2 in the morning. And he took a picture of it. He didn't have live video, but it looked almost exactly.
I got
like
another
that.
picture of
an
what-
orb or an eagle?
An orb.
An orb?
At night.
Oh, did I? So, but I had been in this.
But that is awesome that she caught it because it's beautiful.
So I've heard there's this little Catholic church it's in Washington, D.C. Whenever anyone takes pictures of it, orbs always appear in the church.
Yeah. Look at hers, dude. It's like.
Wow.
It's moving, dancing around the sky. I feel like those are wings, two little wings.
Wow.
Sweet or what, dude?
Wow. Like where's
So I like to just kind of pray outside. He talks about nature and the correlation, and so I've been really getting into that. So I was just outside and I was looking up at the heavens.
So where you're living now?
Yeah, where I live. And the funny thing is, where we just moved, and where I lived before, I saw almost the same thing, except this time it was still. It was only moving a little bit. I have a photo of that one too. I keep track of all this stuff because it's just incredible to me. But this one, I almost see like a lady's face in it.
Oh wow.
No, look, the more we engage, the more it engages us, is what I've been learning. And so if we're open, we'll see more. That's my prayer.
So I got a question. You guys did this house where you moved in. You moved in with your parents,
Yeah.
and you're shutting the band down or whatever.
Yeah.
Did all this was this all kind of like
Okay, let's go ahead and gather back around. I guess it's my responsibility to to bring this back to order. I forgot I'm in charge. Kinda.
Right. Okay. Enough fellowshipping, Christians. Right. We must be serious about this pursuit. All right, one serious thing. Let me get one serious thing out of the way. It would be really funny if I did a shameless product placement moment right there, but that's not what I'm going to do. All right, let me I felt like I needed to tell you this, so I'm going to do it. Everyone's probably heard the term Gnosticism at some point in time. Have you heard the term? That was enough nods. Okay. Gnosticism has in its core something called gnostic dualism. And, like so many things, there's some truth in stuff, but then it goes wonky somewhere. And gnostic dualism acknowledges that there is a heaven-God space and there's an earth-man space. But what Gnosticism at its core is a kind of religion, I guess. It's a kind of believing that says that the problem is we're in the man-earth space because we look around and we see all the problems. And Gnosticism acknowledges something went wrong. And so the solution to a Gnostic is to get from this man-earth space back in to the heaven-God space, this circle up here. And they would do that, in Gnostic terminology, via ascension. They would get themselves ascending out of this earth-man space into this, did I do that right? Yes, into the heaven-God space. The problem with Gnostic dualism is that it believes so strongly that this is the problem, that this has to be left in order to go up. And the Gnostics sort of believe that the way they're going to get up there is with some sort of like secret knowledge and initiations into their secret knowledges and whatever that entails. It's at the end of the day going to be some witchcraft, so don't do it. But that's how they're going to ascend up there. So man, earth space, bad. Heaven, God space, good. So they believe to ascend from this place to this place, you would have to leave all of this behind. Everything that is a definition or anything that involves this earth-man space is supposed to be ascended out of on your journey back to the God heaven space where you supposedly belong. problem with that is that the incarnation with Jesus is the biggest punch in the chops to Gnosticism that there ever was. Because it is God's way of saying humanity isn't the problem. Humanity is the solution to all of the problems. Now, Gnostic dualism says in order to ascend out of this to get back up into this God space, you got to leave it all behind. So they do think that whatever defines this, the opposite is true here. If this realm is physical and touchable, this realm must be ethereal, spiritual, and not solid, untouchable. If you do jobs here and there's differentiation between humans, there must not be here. It must be a total union or homogenizing of humanity to where it's more or less everyone's kind of the same. If you have things that define you as a human being here, those must not be the case here. So forget your gender, for instance. Like that's going to, I don't know, get cut off on the way up or something. I don't know what they think. But it's something like that. You can't have anything that defines the mortal space in the God space, and the goal to a Gnostic is to get out of this into this. The problem is you have to leave everything that makes you human behind. Now, you would be shocked to know how much Gnosticism is in everyday Christianity today. And if you go read Paul's letters, for the most part, especially when he's writing to Timothy, he is giving Timothy ammunition to deal with Gnosticism. It's that weird verse about women are saved even through childbearing. You remember reading that and you were like, what? Well, the Gnostics thought, and they were really active, that nothing affirmed the mortality of a human woman so much as to know a man, become pregnant, and give birth. Nothing sucked her down into the man-earth circle as much as that. So to the Gnostics, she was never going to make it. And Paul's like, no, you dorks. She's saved even through childbearing. There's nothing that can keep you from the love of God, you know? He's dealing with their Gnostic thinking. There's books you can read about that. So the deal with how much Gnosticism affected our view of the heavens is so thorough. I mean, I'd like to say we won, but I feel like it infiltrated in so many ways. So the modern view, especially the one we kind of grew up learning in Sunday school, of what, I don't know what you want to call it, afterlife, heaven, whatever happens after this, the notion that we were brought up with was pick a harp, pick a cloud, pick a white robe. And I hope you like Holy, 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 because you are going to sing it for the rest of your days. And to any, especially a boy, but to anybody that's in there, you're just like, I'm not sure if I want to go. That sounds awful. That sounds like the most boring experience I've ever had in my life. And of course, they told you that, and then you went to church after Sunday school, and you were like, it is the most boring experience. We've got to get out of here. Quick. Rebel, teenagers, rebel. This can't be the way. How much of that view of what comes next, what humans are destined for, is Gnostic based on what we think? And it's wrong. It is not this clinically sterile environment where everything that defined your human sojourn is left behind in favor of the sterility, the homogenization. Again, pick a harp, pick a cloud, pick a white robe. And that's it. And instead, when Jesus raised from the dead, he was buried a dude and he was raised a dude. Like, he did not lose his gender, and he took it with him when he went. He's still a dude when they see him seated to the right hand of the Father. It is, again, the incarnation of God. The humanity was not left behind. His definitions are still there. Now, augmented, I think they went higher, but still there. So our notion of just like, what you're going to do is you're just going to like get so close to God, and you're just going to be the heaven worship team, and you're just going to be 24/7, holy, holy, holy. And I'm like, if that sounds cool to you, I'm not going to try to talk you out of it, but that's not for me. When I've been there with him, there's adventure, there's play, there's curiosity, there's discovery. There is occasionally danger. I'll tell you some of those stories if we have time. If not, we'll wait for another time. It's not risk-free. Again, safe. Who said anything about safe? I've been in some scrums in the heavens. I mean, I've been armored up, and the angels are putting plate armor on me, and I'm going, aren't we in the spirit world? Why would I need this? What aren't you telling me? And it's always like, we know something you don't, and we're not about to tell you. I mean, there have been battles fought and won. There have been rescue operations made. I mean, there's so much going on. It's not like you go up there and you never sweat again. Believe me, that's not a world you want to live in. And we were fed that so thoroughly from Christianity, that that's the future, that's the destiny of humanity. And it is, without a doubt, a bore. Until you go up, whether it's on a roller coaster or something else, and you're like, this is not what I was told it was. I remember I'm going to tell you this one story, and then I'm going to not tell crazy stories. We're going to go do something else. You do not have to believe me, especially if this is offensive anyway. I'm not sure if it's going to be, but I'm just giving it that disclaimer. I'm not going to be ashamed of what's happened. I walked into this forest with Jesus once, and tucked away in the middle of this forest was what looked like this wooden longhouse, you know? Big wooden structure, but it didn't look like they hammered it together. It looked like someone had convinced the trees to grow into the shape of this building. Leaves all around it. It was really cool. Walked into this place, had no grid for what was about to happen. Walked in with Jesus into like a, what's the word? Rowdy party. On the other end, there's this giant fireplace and this roaring fire. There's all these tables, there's singing, there's dancing. My Gaelic heart it was just thriving in this environment. There were creatures I had never seen before. It was a little Narnia-like. There were little things flying around that seemed very fairy-like. It was another world, and Jesus is just there having the best time ever. And there are beings of one sort or another, and they're carrying around trays of drinks, and there's songs, and things are sloshing like this, and the fire was too hot for the room, and so you're sweating, and it wasn't clinically sterile. It wasn't everyone in white walking in, amen, taking their place with the worship choir for that 24/7 set of holy, holy, holy. It was lively. It broke my notion of what Jesus likes even, I'm going to be done telling that story now. I could go on, but let's just stop there. I just wanted to bring this issue up. And of course, I'm not condoning a rave, okay? So I don't know where the young people are, but so he's green lighting the rave party? No, he's not green lighting the rave party. He's just breaking my understanding of what I think humans are destined for. That they're not destined for less activity. They're not destined for less variety. They're not destined for less risk. And ultimately what he's saying is you're not destined for less story. You're destined for more story. You're destined for greater stories than you could have even imagined up, Ephesians 3:20. He's got adventures for you to last ages. And that's what we're going to do, is we're going to read these stories and get to be in them. Because he loves a good story. All right, you want to do something fun? Okay. As a disclaimer, I will say that I watched myself in heaven do certain jobs before I ever did them here. So I do not teach, by the way, when I see myself living my immortal resurrection life. I've never taught anyone when I'm there. I just do that here. But when I'm there, I do see myself on my ship quite a bit. I spend probably half of my time in heaven sailing from one end of those cosmic waters to the other. My ship has sails because sails work and they're beautiful. Diesel engines work, but they are not beautiful. And everything that God made works and is beautiful. Consider the horse. It both works and is beautiful. Consider the flower. It works and is beautiful. Things we make. What's that?
What about
The fall. No, it's not. No, seriously, it's a good point. Nature fell with humanity.
That's right, and actually, I know they are still currently designed to be able to survive off of plant sap. So I know it happened in the fall, but I just had to throw that in.
Oh, it's a good thing to throw in. No, really. I mean, like, aren't we all like getting bit and we're clearly not where we're supposed to be, you know? I mean, I don't know, I think the platypus works and is beautiful. I think that's amazing. No, but I get what your point. The mosquito in general, I mean, think of the butterfly, this beautiful straw of a proboscis, drinks the stuff out of the flower, also will eat like waste, but let's not go there. We just like to think of the butterflies just drinking out of the flower. And then you get the mosquito with its hypodermic, needle of syringe of a mouth, And in Florida, they are the state bird. I don't know what it's like here. But you always know they're around from the shadow they cast on the ground. Right. Right. I'm telling you. Oh, it's bad. All right, so, yeah, I mean, nature did go with the fall. Nature and humanity both fell, as you were saying. So where were we going with that? Where was I? Oh, works and is beautiful. Right. So when I'm sailing in my ship, no diesel engine cranking around with its inefficiency, no smoke, no exhaust, no fuel burning. It sails. Now, whatever wind they're catching, I don't think it's wind. It's something else. And when that ship takes off the water and the sails are both above and below on masts, and I'll sail that ship through the heavens doing the jobs that he's given me to do. But I watched myself ferrying people around the heavens enough for like a year or more before I went, if I do that there, why can't I do that here? Why can't I take something from my resurrection life, my immortal life, and bring it into my mortal sojourn? Now, it's where, we've joked about this too. It's like, if people ever ask me, well, like, what's your ministry gift? Or are you, fivefold? And I'm like, I don't even know. I'm not, like, to me, I know the title that I have. I know what he calls me. I know what it means to be a navigator. I know that I'm one of, I'm sure, many, many, many. So I do that job. And so I thought, I'm just going to bring it down and start doing it here. And I lost my reserve about taking people to places that I had been. Now, I'm for trying new things because I think there's this narrow road of discovery between those two ditches of the religious spirit and deception. And I also didn't mention that narrow road is filled with mines that you have to tiptoe around, but we do that too. It's a tight road to walk. But you get on it, and you see what happens when you try stuff out. You trust that God will take care of you. So I was like, well, I'm going to do this and see what the fruit of it is. If the fruit's good, if people find themselves closer to Jesus, loving God more and loving their neighbor more, in the words of Randall Worley, if you're loving God more and loving your neighbor more, you can't be deceived. Okay? That's like your one thing. If you're loving God more and you're loving your neighbor more, you cannot be deceived. You're good. You can't fake that stuff. Now, what I'm going to do, if you'll let me, is I'm going to take you someplace that I like to take groups of people. Okay, some of you were like, ooh. Some of you were like, I don't know. All right, listen. You don't have to go. No one's getting a gold star. Jesus will not love you more for doing this. Okay? He likes you fine, just as you are. So it's an option. If you don't want to go with me, do what we've been doing. Keep it right here. Now, I'm going to have Jesus with us. Don't worry, okay? The chaperone will be there. But if you want to just keep going through those exercises, that's not like less than what we're going to do. Spend some time with Jesus in a comfortable setting for you. But what I'd like to do is stretch the eyes of your heart a little bit to see something that you've never seen before. And for the record, it's not like you're the guinea pigs. I do this a whole lot. Okay, so one trick pony. This is pretty much all I do. So I'm going to take you someplace. Now, what you have to do is, I know you've known me for like 2 days, but Paul vouches for me, and that's got to count for like at the tiniest bit, okay? You got to trust me a little bit here. You just have to be willing to go, what am I going to do with the next 20 minutes? Am I going to go home and watch Netflix? Probably. Okay, so this is less time than you're going to watch Netflix. I think the stakes are low. I have never done this and anyone's ended up possessed by demons. It has never happened in 12 years. And if you're the first, you know what? They'll take care of you right back here. So Just work your way around, and they'll get a trash can that you can throw up in, and when the demon comes out, okay? I'm too spiritually lazy anymore to do that, so I'm not going to do it. They'll do it, but it's never happened. But we have people on hand that can minister to you, okay? So just give me a little bit of trust. Let me set some of the scene for you. Now, if you're like, Christopher, it's going to feel like you're guiding us. That's exactly what I'm doing. And I'm not going to make any bones about it. I am absolutely guiding you. Now, for some of you, you're like, sounds new age. Where do you think they got it from? Allow me like 2 more minutes. Can I talk to you for 2 more minutes before we go? There is a classic Satan move. I'm going to have to demonstrate it to you, okay? He does a move. You've probably seen it before. Imagine for a moment that in here is this beautiful pool of water. And all of us Christians are swimming in this pool, and we're loving it. The water is a perfect 77 degrees. Okay, good. Let's make sure. Right. It's going to be a little cold. Right. Yeah, it's, well, give me another one. Something else good. No, okay. Anyway, water's beautiful, and we're just swimming in it. We're all having a great time bouncing beach balls. It's great. Now, he knows, the enemy, that we're swimming in this pool, and we like it, and it's a good pool. So he's going to mess with us. So he comes out of the room over here, and he starts walking to the pool, and he's standing on the side. We're still splashing, having a good time, and he's all dark and crusty, looks like he's been in a fire or something. And he's like, well, I'm going to get in that pool too. And so he takes off the robe, and he's wearing like a red Speedo because that would be the most inappropriate thing to wear, okay? So he's dark and crusty, and he's got a red Speedo on. And now he's just going to he's going to go down the first couple steps into the pool. Now, everyone that was right here, like in the shallow end by the steps, is like, he's in the pool. He's touching the pool. And his dirty toe is like the dirt's going to go out. And so all the Christians on the steps in the shallow end, they start hurting themselves over here to the deep end to get away from the contaminated water. Now, he sees the reaction. And he's like, got him now. So now he steps from that first step down a few more steps. He's up to his waist. And he's doing what you do in the shallow end of a pool. He's just walking around like this, real slow, because you can't do it fast. And so he's just like this in the shallow end, and everyone's now just fleeing the shallow end. They're like, we got to get away from him. He's in the pool. And so now they're all in the deep end, and he's got it now. He's got the strategy. So now he's going into the deep end. He's in over his, over his head. He just starts a nice, lazy breaststroke, just like this. Just in the... Thank you. And I've done this before. And now everyone that's in the deep end of the pool is like, it's the waters. It's so contaminated. And so now we're all clamoring to get out of the pool, which you've done that in a deep end. There's no graceful way to do it. It's elbow, elbow, knee, knee. You're going to scrape something on the way out. So now we're all clamoring to get out, and now we're all herded and huddled into the corner over here, and he's the only one swimming in the pool. And it was our pool. And he played us like a cheap fiddle. And he does so every single day. Simply by taking what's ours and claiming, without anything to back it up, that it's his, simply because of his proximity to it. That's why I know Christians are allowed to look at the stars, even though God made them, the devil didn't. That's why no one's allowed to think that they might be speaking, even though the Psalms said that, not him. It's why we don't allow ourselves to ascend, to acknowledge that we can be in more than one realm at one time. We'll call it New Age. You following? I'm absolutely going to guide you. If you're on the road of discovery, we're going to end up experiencing new things. It's not just always going to be a repeat of what we've always done. I'm not going to tell you that you're supposed to take everything I say and believe it. I've been telling you all weekend, take it with a grain of salt. Don't stop being a good human. You have to go test and approve everything. I do not have all the answers. The only guarantee that I have is that I'm going to be wrong. It's the only guarantee that I have, that I will get stuff wrong. I'm choosing to celebrate it and not use it as an excuse to not try. Are you following what I'm saying? So I'm absolutely going to guide you. If it's uncomfortable, I am for zero pressure environments. I don't like high pressure environments. So don't feel like this is some kind of graduation class. No one's getting a gold star at the end. If you're comfortable doing it, I'm going to take you someplace. If you're not, keep doing what you're doing. And if you're like, I'm totally out, grab a Bible and read a scripture. You can't go wrong here, you know? Just do something. Okay, you ready? Excellent. I'm going to start describing a scene to you. I'm going to give you the basics of the picture. Your job is to, eyes open or not, Amber, we know you're not going to close your eyes, okay? But your job is just to start to let this picture come in to your mind, okay? Start to form the picture with those imaginative eyes. Ready? I want you to imagine that you are standing in front of a silver tree. I want you to imagine you're standing under by the front of the trunk, and it's almost like this metallic silver. And I want you just to see it just sort of twisting ever so gently as that trunk rises up out of the ground. And those silver branches spread out overhead in this wide circular canopy a few feet over your head. And at the end of all the silver branches are these emerald-like green leaves, so thin to be like leaves, but they're not like leaves. There's something more crystalline than that. And all these beautiful green leaves all over the silver tree. And if you look up into the branches, you might even see some fruit. These sort of like luminescent glowing orbs that are in the tree. Now let your eyes go down that gently twisting silver trunk to the ground. And you're going to see where the silver trunk comes into the ground. There's all this green, verdant green short moss. It's not grass down there. It's just the short green moss all around this wide circle around the silver tree. Outside of that wide circle of moss is a pathway, a circular pathway that goes the whole perimeter around this tree and the moss that it's growing out of, with benches every so often that you could sit down in, and pathways that go out from this circle into other areas. Now, all I want you to do right now is locate yourself. Where are you in this picture? Give me your first impressions and shout them out. Don't be shy. I could ask the question, where should you be? Because your imagination already knows. Under the tree. Next to the trunk. Sitting on a branch and on the bench. Keep going. You can't mess this part up, I promise. Oh, I'm sorry, the swing is demonic. I'm just kidding. Listen, you're going to have spiritual moments, but if you can't laugh and have fun, you're doing this wrong, okay? Thank you. Yes, please swing in the swing. You're doing great. Got to keep you on your toes. Bunch of yahoos. All right, keep going. Where else are you in the picture? Yeah.
Standing on that sidewalk where it meets the one going around the tree, looking at the tree.
Excellent. Great detail. On a bench 20 feet back with a blanket and a book. What color is your blanket? Uh-huh. Oh, there's the plaid blanket we all knew was going to show up. Yeah. There you go. Where else are you? Give me some more. Just locate yourself. Where do you want to be? I could ask the question that way. Enjoying the fruit. Love it. Bringing in your own bench. Neat. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I see a doorway into the tree when I go in.
Yeah, there's always one. It's not a joke, Amber. There's always one. I can't keep him out of the portal. But if you don't mind, would you stay with the group for just a little longer before you take off? Sorry, there's always two that I found. You're all right. You're all right. Couple more. Give me a few more. Don't stand on ceremony. Yep. On the bench, edge of the canopy. How about one more? Walking around their circumference. Yeah, it's beautiful. Now, quick, give me a little poll here. Who's seeing it during the day? Just raise your hand. And then nighttime? Okay, I'm there at night too. That's the really spiritual people see it at night. So. Now, listen, don't worry. We're going to get the chaperone there. I just want to show you something, okay? Imagine what you smell. Give me the first impression of what this place should smell like, because your imagination already knows. I don't even have to, don't wait for it to hit you from an outside source. What do you imagine it would smell like? Give me the first impressions. Apples. Apples for you too? What was the one over here? Cotton candy. I know you're like, am I allowed to say that? Yes, I've done this before, and one of the guys was like, barbecue. And I was like, go with it, you know? The stakes are low, folks. Let's just do it. What else you got? The stakes are, oh, okay, yeah.
I smell the lightning bugs and smell have an earthy smell.
Lightning bugs and earthy smell. Great, Amber. It's not weird. The only weird thing is if someone was like, I smell trash, then I'm like, you're in the wrong place. That's the only thing that you could say. Keep going. What else you got for smells? Flowers, what kind? I'm not going to know, but you tell me what kind you smell. Okay. I kind of know what that smells like, yeah. Jasmine. I hear people say that. I have no idea what the smell is, but I believe it's a good smell. Lilacs. For you too? Okay, a lot of lilac. I have no idea what that smells like. Good. Excellent. I get honey and cinnamon. Those are mine. All right, anybody else a smell? First impression? Lavender and? New mown grass. Yeah, that smell. I know that smell. Now, all I'm doing is I'm trying to give you a moment to let more of your conscious self be there. You were made to sense. So let's put them to work. They work in that realm, and the more you let the senses come in, the more you'll let your conscious self be in that environment. Now let's do another one. Sounds. What do you imagine you would hear? Amber. Before they tell me the birds, what do you got, Amber? Oh, wind sounding like a symphony. Bird people, what kind of birds? Tweety or jungle? Tweety? Tweety? Okay. Yeah. You know the jungle ones. Tookie, tookie. Yeah, that's when you hear those. Yeah. Yeah. What else you got? More sounds. Low frequency hum back there. Yeah, what else? Babbling brook. And I didn't tell you there was water, but there is. Train whistle. Thanks for saying it. I mean, because again, you could have written that off. You could have been like, I can't say train whistle. Say train whistle. Let's see where it goes. No, really, we're going to see what happens with that. What else you got? Chimes. Oh, the leaves have the sound, right? Anybody else? Yeah, good. Okay, low chime, middle chime, high chime. Or like, what are we? Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I often hear tinkling, like just a tinkling going on up there. Yeah, very good. Anybody else? Any more sounds? Yeah. Woodpecker. Yeah. Yeah, very good. Right? He's on a different tree. They're not all silver. Yeah. What else you got over here? Yeah. Yeah, crunching the ground, right. Yeah, right. Very good. Hustle and bustle of the city. Again, thank you. That's like the train, right? Don't give up on that, okay? If you're in a different like zone with the sounds, the Lord's going to make some sense of it. We're going to see where this goes, all right? So keep that in mind. Now, how about touches? I want you to imagine yourself. You can reach out and touch something, or you might feel the clothing on your skin in this environment or the temperature of the air. What's your sense of touch here? First impressions. The wood grain of the bench. Velvety of what? What feels velvety? Cloth on you. Yeah. What else you got? You want to touch? Do it and tell me what they feel like. Do it. Yeah. Just watch yourself do it. Trust that first impression of the feeling. Okay, cold. And that, you're a little surprised. I could tell in the voice, like it's cold. Yeah, keep going. You're doing great. Okay, because there's always one of those too. Right. Always one in the tree. Yeah. Yeah, so it feels the metallicness of it. Very good. What else you got? Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, you're not the first person to say that. Yeah.
Kind of liquefied silver.
Mm-hmm. It's got a fluidness.
Right.
Yep. Keep going. Oh, there's always two, right? Yeah. Glitter. Super. Yeah. Anybody else? Touch sensations. Doug, will you give me a little something in the background? Just, we're going to get to some cool stuff here. Let's have a little background. Uh-huh. Yeah. That was good. That was good. It was about to go 80s rock. Yeah. If you can't have fun, you're doing this wrong. Right, cool blades of grass. Nighttime people, do me a favor. Look up. Give me your first impressions of what the night sky looks like here. What do you see? A million stars. I always see so many different colors in them. I almost feel like the nebulous clouds that you only see through telescopes are so much closer. Like they look like clouds. Actually, it would be in the sky, but they're a nebula. That's what I typically see. You got something, Amber?
I see a lot of stars, but then I see where like the planets are like chopping together like buddies,
Mm-hmm.
hanging out with each other.
Yeah. It's another, Amber, yes, you bring up good things. That's another story for another day. It's why you would see the planets like that. Now, wherever you are, this is the moment. You've been working through some senses. Don't stop doing that, okay? Just breathe. Look at yourself. Imagine yourself breathing there. And imagine breathing in the air in that place. But then imagine the air going from those lungs all the way down to the lungs of your mortal body. As if you're breathing in that rarefied air and you're letting it come and fill the lungs that you have in this mortal sojourn. Breathe in and smell and listen and touch. And walk through those senses. Breathe and smell and listen and touch. Just keep going through it. Breathe, smell, listen, and touch. Now, if you just take a moment to do that, you know what we're going to do. We're going to go, Lord, where are you in this picture? So mumble it to him. The more you talk to yourself tonight, the better this is going to go. You don't have to be loud. You can just mumble. Mumble to yourself, Lord, where are you in this picture? And then tell yourself your first impression of where you think the Lord would be, because your imagination already knows. And after you've told yourself, tell me. Amber. Right. He's like, if Chris will ever hurry up, we'd get through this door. Yeah. Sitting on the bench. Sitting on the moss, leaning up against the tree. And were you by the tree as well? And you see him there. Good. Is he in the tree with you? All right. I wouldn't laugh, but it's also funny. So just keep going. You're doing great. What else? Walked up behind the bench and plopped in front of you to talk. Keep going. What else? You're under it. He's hanging upside down from the tree. He's so not religious, I tell you. It's like we need to take him to church. Right? This is the Sasquatch, right? Creatures, let them in. Why not? Let's see what he says, you know? It's not beyond me to see creatures like that when I'm there. It's always an interesting story. Keep going. What else? Yeah. Standing on the branch next to you. Sitting next to you. Good. Yeah. Standing there enjoying watching you. Good. Now, what's he look like? Give me your first impressions. Color, clothing, expression. Just some basics. Take some guesses. You know by now, don't wait. It's a mirage thinking you're going to be 100% sure. Just give me the first guess. Beige. Friendly smile. Tan robe. Casual clothes. Black hair. Ponytail. Give me a few more expressions. Jeans. A few more facial looks. What's he giving you? Love in his eyes. Yeah, love, smile. Twinkling eyes. Right. Yeah. Now, as much fun and as relaxed as we've been, what if you gave yourself permission right now to be by the silver tree in some heavenly restored environment with him? What if you just gave yourselves permission to do this for the next 5 minutes? What if you suspended your disbelief that it's possible, that the tree exists, that he is alive, that he is not dead, and he's living, and he's with you here? If you suspended your disbelief for a moment, it is as real as your mortal life, if not more so. I'm going to be quiet, and you just take the next 3, 4, 5 minutes and talk to yourself as you watch this story unfold. You don't have to make noise, but please do something. Move your lips ever so slightly. I promise you, after 12 years, it's one of the biggest things you can do to help yourself is talk to yourself. Don't keep it inside. Is everybody still, for the most part, around the silver tree? Or, Amber, you probably took off somewhere. Okay. Okay. So, for the most part, still in the same area. Now, I just want to take this to like Heaven 201 level for just a minute, okay? Just for like 1 minute. What I want you to do is, with your eyes open, I want you to superimpose that silver tree right here in the middle and see it growing up, and see the green moss around the circle and the pathway that goes around it. And if we can all agree, more or less, it's okay if you see him somewhere different, that we can have the Lord in the middle. Okay? Seems like a place he would be, right? Superimpose both scenes together. It's not just us sitting here. You've got the moss, the silver tree, him standing there. Now let's give him a moment to be who he wants to be, which is our teacher and our king and our captain. So look at him and see it all together and go, Lord, what's one thing you want to make sure we know tonight? Mumble it to him. Lord, what's one thing you want to make sure we know tonight? What do you hear and see him saying or perceive him doing and saying while he's here by the silver tree right in our midst? What's your first impressions?
I heard that no matter what things look like on earth, whether it's there are a lot of heavenly beings that are on your side that have watched you from childhood to adulthood. They're rooting you on.
Yeah, we are strangely never as alone as we sometimes think we are. Yeah, so true, Amber. Keep going. First impressions. What does he want you to know tonight? And by proxy, all of us to know tonight. I really want to be with you. It's going to be even more beautiful than a silver tree. Truer words have never been spoken. Yes. This tree is nourished by love. Yeah. He likes us, which is different, right? Yeah, like if he would choose to hang out with you. Yeah, he likes you. Yeah, what else? Bring others. Don't let anything interrupt this time together. Yeah, his desire is to see more of his spirit in us. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. I'm not even going to do that in the microphone because it was a lot of detail, but it was awesome about how he made the tree. Yes. And however cool he made the tree, he made you so much cooler. So true. Anything else? Wonder. Yeah. Yeah. Right. The fragrance is even better than lilacs. They get an upgrade. Yeah. Lovely. Yeah. Sounds right. Again, Amber, a story for another day. Let's talk about that another time. But yes, he is most likely writing himself into the stories and the character of Lucy more often than not, because he was watching and observing those things. And he also interjected the planets into each of the books as well, too, in a way that we'll talk about another time. Yeah. Keep going. Yeah. Yeah. I give you joy. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. For the camera, keep your eyes on Jesus and find joy and peace. Yeah. Now, again, with your eyes open, be in both places. Let the silver tree be in here. Let him be in here in our midst. It's theologically accurate. Whenever we're gathered together, he is there in the midst of us. He is present and he is alive. He's no ghost. And he's present in the midst of us. Hang tight one second here, Amber. See all of that interjected now. Let's address the things that are blowing up for just 1 minute. Ask him, what's one thing we can release from this place and let it go from heaven to earth right now? For Ukraine or Yemen or wherever you prefer. Pick something that's blowing up and ask him, what's one thing we can release from this place right now and let it go from heaven to earth? Now I'm going to jump in. I'm going to tell you the first thing I heard him say. He said, I'm meeting the kids and I'm speaking to the kids. So he's looking after them that are caught in all this mess. But he said, they're hearing me, like he's meeting them. What else you got? He's caring for each one that is his. Ask the question, Lord, what's one thing we can release from this heavenly environment and let it go from heaven to earth? What's he say? Putting shelters around them. Good. Don't let it go unspoken. Acknowledge it. Vocalize it. That's part of bringing it in. Courage. Courage for those in Afghanistan. Good word. Amber. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, dropping peace bombs. The Prince of Peace drops peace bombs. Yeah, right on. Give me just a few more. Go for it. I have not.
And I'm keeping, those two are pretty obviously interposing themselves over one another as I'm trying to pick them.
As they would, yeah.
On that one, the leaves are books, open books.
Ooh, neat.
The leaves of
Yeah.
and excuse me, then I'm picturing from that is one of those book leaves that are books being passed along, dropped, taken.
Yeah. Yeah.
My son, who, though he led Bible studies for navigators while he was in college, is now an atheist.
Gotcha.
So something, I'll release something from this.
Right.
You know,
Awesome. Yeah. Way to vocalize that. Again, for anyone that's watching on camera wants to know what's going on. A book being released to a family member who is an atheist from that tree. Yeah. Someone give me one more. Giving dreams of him, releasing those. Did you have one more too? You can throw it out. Yeah. Little bits of the tree just coming down on everything. Yeah. Very good. Now, wherever you are, gratefulness opens up doors. If you ever want to open up a door in your life, become thankful. So look at him. Again, I'm just seeing him right here, the King of Kings. alive, living well, meeting with all of us. Whatever you do, just start uttering your thankfulness. You can mumble it. I'm going to say it out loud, so I'll talk over you, but you start telling him what you're thankful for. Just do it while I'm doing it, okay? You're on your own. Lord, I'm telling you thank you for meeting us this weekend, for being so faithful. I'm grateful that you are alive, that you are not dead. You're king of every culture. Thank you for meeting us and for blessing us. Thanks for providing the host when we've needed them. And please, please, whatever you want to do with this group of people, continue to let them step into it, whatever that might be. Amen. Amen. We're past 8:30, so I'm got out of more questions. That's great. So, yep.
Well, we're just going to go ahead and dismiss. Blessings to everybody. Thank you for joining this weekend. We are here every Sunday night if you want to join us. We do variations on this theme. And thank you, Christopher, for giving us some for material that we can actually launch from as we continue on. So blessings to everybody and have a great evening.